Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us once again for Musical Mire, part 3 of our actually unplanned series, originally unplanned series of music industry scams. Today we're going to be talking about some personal experiences, somewhere we've been caught, somewhere we've not. But first, some introductions. My name is Mark David Stallard. I'm the lead singer for a band we'll talk about in a second, and on my right is...
Hi, I'm Ryan, the bassman Janz. Also one of the songwriters for a band that we will very quickly mention.
And the band's name is It's All in the Mind,
Mind.
Which is actually
Yeah.
we rehearsed it completely differently. We're going crazy. All right, we'll do it. This is why we will never be a hit on vaudeville. Anyhow, right.
Or maybe we might be.
So
Hang on one second.
we have
We've got a visitor, unscheduled visitor. 1 second.
there we go, found that. Okay, I'll just continue on with the intro. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things that Ryan and I have experienced as far as scams. We kind of, fell for it to a point.
Good night.
Good night.
Can you say night?
Hey, we are. Well, you're live.
Night.
Say I'm live.
I'm live. Do you want to hear?
Here we go.
Can you hear?
Any other time it's a technical difficulty. Yeah, this time it's
There you go.
it's human
Anything can
resource.
happen live.
Human resources. Right, where are you? Okay, so so we're going to be talking about that personal thing, that an example each where Ryan and I let ourselves get not certainly duped, but we certainly allowed ourselves to get swept into a scam, and we're going to show some examples where we've actually been hit, at least with attempts, and how we've fought them off. First of all, you can find us all on every links to everything on theinvisibleman.ca, and that includes if you're watching on Facebook and you want to see a really pristine picture, go watch it on YouTube. Just go to theinvisibleman.ca/YouTube, and it's this same stream is live there as well. Please, if you're watching, subscribe and share and all that other good stuff where appropriate to the platform you're watching on.
Alrighty, so sorry about that. Dad duty's called. Happy to have my little girl on the show just to say hi. We've got Chris and Shaleem in the peanut gallery, and they seem to be ripping on each other already. Our Statler and Waldorf.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds like them. A little bit mean to each other. No, actually, best of friends, I'm sure. Best of friends, having some fun ribbing each other.
Of course. So, and in answer to Chris's, I think you answered it aptly, because Chris had said, "What have we got for us tonight?" Then we are going to get real tonight and talk about how we've been taken and how we've sidestepped that particular mishap. So,
indeed,
may now all return from the edge of your seats.
Yes. Or get closer to the edge, because this is going to be great. And just for those of you, so for those of you that missed the previous shows, just a very quick recap. The first one, we had talked about examples of scams that you're likely to come across as a musician, music industry scams. This part 2 was a toolkit, some tips, some things that you can do to protect yourselves from scams. And this is, again, we're now going to move into a couple of the examples of some things where we kind of got caught with I'd say our pants down. I'm not sure that's a little bit strong, but we didn't go into these things with our eyes closed. So I'm going to start with the example where I actually ended up parting with some money, and I'm actually going to change the screen here if I can do it without losing everything. There we go. I actually got an email. Almost everything that has come my way has been email or started via email. And the first thing that hit, and this, I just recorded my solo CD 2011, I think it was 2012, something like that. And I was actually eagerly looking out for someone to sell my music to hopefully get that big record. No, not record, sorry, the movie deal, where my music is at the beginning of a movie. And I got an email that was pandering exactly to that, and it was a perfect timing. Now, this is an example of an email that I got a few years later. I don't have the original email, but this is exactly what I'd seen, something very, very similar to this that really kind of caught me. because it played into my vanity. It just happened to catch me at the right time. I was looking for something like this, and here we go. So if you can see that they're all, this one looks really quite professional. We've got, we have access to an industry database and whatever. Now, the one I actually received the first time did not have this comment that's highlighted here. I actually went back to them and said, can you send me a sample? And they ummed and ahed a little bit, which should have been a red flag all by itself. But eventually they came back and said, you know what, I'm going to give you a couple. And they just gave me some couple with the important bits blacked out. Okay, there's information maybe I could use. Obviously, if this is the same place, they learned by adding this in. And so I sent them $50. I got the list back, and it was literally cut and pasted from emails and websites. You could see the formatting was still in it, and then I felt like a right tool. Because my first reaction was, because I paid via PayPal, was I want to go check these. Who were these people again? Who was I paying? And realized that they had actually sent me a link to for me to pay them every month. So I would have, instead of paying $50 for this pile of junk, I would have been paying $50 a month every month until we turned that off and realized that we were out several hundred. So you've got to be careful on that too. I ended up just cancelling that payment altogether. I ended up paying for the first. So have you had anything along those lines, Ryan? Or any thoughts on that? My experience on that?
Well, first of all, we'll call out to Phil for joining us, Mr. Colorado Phil.
Hey, Phil, baby.
Joining us here.
Phil, baby,
Good
how you
to
doing?
see you, friend. Thanks for coming out. So I've had I guess we've talked about it. I think we had something similar, or we had like wasn't there like a site, like I think we had submitted some material from the It's All in the Mind CD to be played on TV or something like that. They were supposedly had, but I don't think it cost us anything.
No,
I think
but we got paid. Hang on a second. Here we go.
Oh, we did get paid.
We did get paid.
Right on.
We did get paid. Here we go. This is my first SoCan royalty. I don't know if you can see them there. There we go. Oh, as you can see, it's $1.26. We got paid for two clips. They actually paid like a 10-second clip bumper on Shaw Television, and we got paid.
Right on. Okay, well then it wasn't a scam. I thought
that wasn't a scam.
You know what, I always go by the rule, and we drilled this home in the last one where if it seems too good to be true, it is. And it was like, hey, if you submit this, it'll go on TV. Well, okay, well they weren't lying. It went on TV, and we got a huge royalty check for that, a whole $1.26.
Well, for 20 seconds worth of music, we got a $1.26, and I still haven't pulled that money out yet. I don't know if I can. I don't think it's enough.
I think it'll cost you more than $1.26.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think they manage. I don't think SoCan manages anything less than $10 or $20 anyway. So I don't know if it'll be a while before at that rate. No. Anyhow. So moving on. How about your experience there? You have alluded to it. Almost gave the beans away in part one. Gave the beans away. That's not right. Anyway, spilled the beans.
I do that if I'm unchecked, and I'm glad you're. That's why we make such a good team, because you make sure that I don't put my foot too far down my throat. Yeah. But you do enjoy seeing me put it down a little ways, but that's okay. I enjoy making your day. So as I've mentioned several times, with my other band, the Small Town Antics, while Mark and I were playing regularly, I was also part of that band. We did come across something called Supernova is the company, was sort of what they was, and it's a battle of the bands, and it's like, well, that sounds like fun. That sounds like it could be a good time. And we were just so anxious to play. We had written all these songs. We were getting pretty good and felt that we were solid, and we wanted to do it. And we all kind of walked. Phil's being Phil and saying, "No beans, please." No, Phil's. I'm sorry, you're getting them. Lima kidney and the whole eyes, and even a black eye beans. That was more. Yeah. Yes, that's right, Phil. Bass players always push the envelope. Anyways, Phil. I'm having two conversations at one time here.
he loved the bass. That guy. Yeah.
Well, who doesn't love a little bit of bass, right? It's all about that bass. And all about that bass. Anyways, so I had gone down with the drummer at the time. His name was Donovan. We went to meet these guys, and there was like 6 other bands that were going to play that evening. and we met at the Tim Hortons across from St. Vital Center. For all you people who know Winnipeg, there's this Tim Hortons that's across from St. Vital on Dakota Street, and we all were jammed into this one little corner, and they got these like contracts that they're handing out, which, you know, we read through it. We were just more like, hey, we want to pay to play, or we wanted to play, right? So we ended up knowing half that we were going to probably end up paying for a couple of tickets, right? But what we didn't count on is that they didn't accept the fact that we could just pay for the tickets, right? So we got 5 guys in the band. We're all deciding, we're all going to decide, hey, we're going to sell. It worked out to be like 5 each or something like that. We had 25 tickets that we had to sell or something, some dumb number like that. And whatever was left, we were just going to pool in between everyone, and we're just pay off for the rest. What we didn't count on is they're like, nope, that doesn't count. You got, so it's like, well, what does it matter if we have 25 people and they don't show up? You still have $25 worth of, for whatever the ticket price was. So I sent Mark a link about this company. Apparently, it's got like several different things. We'll leave the link in the description for everyone to check out. It's worth reading. There's about 3 different names that this company goes under. Actually, probably more. There's 1K Entertainment / Jam Solid, Supernova, Fight for Fame, Exposure Music Festival, Anthem International Music Fest, Battle of the Bands - NY Band and Venue, Progressive Motion, Hollywood Rock, and Rock Summit, Hollywood Rock Convention and Rock Summit. All these work exactly the same way. And so this website, Mark, are you able to pull that up? Real quick,
for sure.
Just to sort of give everyone a reference. We won't read too terribly much.
There you go. Can you see
all
that?
Right. So if you're looking on the site now, at the site now, this is basically what it's going to look like. Again, we'll put the link in the description. That's good, Mark.
Right.
So but midway down, there's a section about a guy. Let me find it here. I had it marked off, and then I moved my mouse, and then it's gone. Basically, that these one of these companies had a website up, and it got taken down because they were going to court. It basically, a lot of this is basically just telling you bad experience that everybody's had with them, and ours was not too dissimilar. And we realized that we're not going to win. We just want to get it in front of people, and it turns out that everybody else had the same experience that we did. They all sold to their friends and families, and about a third of the people showed up. But the problem with these things is they get all the money. The venue gets a bigger slice because they're the venue. They pay for a sound guy, which they got taken. So I don't really feel too bad about them taking my money because they got taken. Whoever they paid the sound guy, because he was terrible that night. But a lot of this stuff is basically, you see, if you look right there on the screen, it says update 12/18/09. Progressive Motion has deleted their MySpace page. A lot of these stuff is just getting deleted because they can only survive for so long and go on. So, so there's a whole culture of this where they just sort of like, hey, we're gonna get all these bands together. We're gonna get them to promote our show because we can't promote our show, and then we're gonna get everybody else to pay. And then we're going to take the money. We're going to give out a little bit here, and there might be a prize for you if you win.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's the part that is kind of like where it's a scam. So they don't really detail what that prize is. It could be a free recording time, or it could be recording time. It's so vague, right?
Yeah.
Like, before the Small Town Antics were together, most of the members of that band were in another band called Giver. Giver did a very similar Battle of the Bands kind of promotion. The only reason they got anywhere is the crowd obviously liked them better than the other person. They all sold the amount of tickets, so the lead singer complained, and then both bands that won the Battle of the Band got to go. What they didn't say is like, hey, you get free access to Canada Music Week in Toronto, but they didn't tell you, hey, by the way, we're not paying for airfare or any kind of transportation there. So it's like,
Access,
well, that's not really much of a prize, is it?
Well, you have access
Like,
now. You have access all the time, really, in that
Exactly.
regard, right?
So especially if you're a Manitoba Music member or some other music types. But that's our thing. They have one, why is Supernova a bad idea? And the second part is simply entitled Supernova equals shit. And yep, that's about right. That's
Okay.
exactly our thing. It's almost it's that gray area, and they pray again. It's that vanity or that desperation. We just wanted to play. We wanted to get on stage. We didn't care if it cost us. We just wanted to play. But well, if we paid, I mean, that'd be one thing if they packed out the room. If there was like 400 people there, and we got a bunch of new fans and a bunch of people buying our demo and a bunch of other people doing those things, then absolutely, that's no problem. It's worth us taking the hit. But when the venue holds 300 people and there's 50, including all the bands, that's not gonna happen, right? And there was bands who were clearly touring bands who did it for the same reason. There were guys who did it who were doing it because they were in the same boat we were and they just wanted to play. There's guys who showed up at the last minute who brought in like people from like their whole neighborhood, and obviously they won. What they won, I have no idea.
Right. Right.
So it's not based on performance. It's based on how many tickets you sell, how many butts are in seats, and how well you promote their event. And then your reward is you get to play for 4 songs or 2 songs or 3 songs.
Oh, and the sound quality on stage was excellent, you were saying, right? So
okay, so I have volunteered and done sound. I've done sound for our gigs. I've done sound for friends. I've been I'm going to say amateur sound man at best for the last 10 years.
Well, you usually grab the sound when we're playing. If there's a soundboard, you're usually on it.
Yeah, exactly. I do a lot of that technical stuff. I sent Mark a picture of the rig I'm using to record this whole endeavor, and it's quite something. There's wires and boxes and switches. It's my thing, right? I love doing. I love that kind of thing. It's equally artistic and it's equally technical, which fits my brain perfectly, right? Mm-hmm. So, where I ended up getting the big headache was, so if you're going to have a band go on, even if it's a 3-piece, and you got to assume that there's going to be one singer and at least 2 people that are going to either share a monitor or something. Well, there's one monitor. It was very low. The drummer should have a monitor. There should be a monitor for at least 2 other guys to share on the stage, and one for the lead singer at minimum, right? So there's one that we all had to share. So our drummer, thankfully, was very confident or competent, confident and competent, and was able to actually just follow along from the ambient stage noise in our amps, right? But he basically had turned our amps towards him so he couldn't hear lyrics, right?
Did you say what the venue was?
I don't want to trash the venue too much. It was at the Ellis Cafe.
Okay.
But so before everyone starts jumping on me and say, hey, what do you got against Ellis Cafe? Yeah. Actually, I have nothing against Ellis Cafe. They probably got taken just like the rest of us did. They didn't hire the sound man. Supernova did. And they hired a hack, and they got a crappy performance, and basically everybody had a
just want to give everybody an idea of the size of the place. So it's not a small venue. It's not a small coffee shop. It's a sizable.
No, it's
a sizable.
You can easily fit, I think, probably 200 people, maybe 300 if they've changed the seating arrangement and they got different occupancies. But they definitely, it's a big venue, right? Like it's a nice venue. I've been there for other shows, not just rock shows, but I have friends who are part of a musical theater troupe, and they sing at a level that's well past any of like my skill level, and they sounded great in there. It's an absolutely outstanding venue. Mm-hmm. It just has absolutely everything to do with the hack that they hired.
Yeah.
right? So
yeah, and any awful people can hire a legitimate venue, right? So it has nothing to do with them.
yeah, exactly. So when I say that the experience was horrible, it wasn't because of Ellis Cafe. If you're thinking of using the Ellis Cafe and can fill it up to half or full capacity, by all means go. Hire a good sound man. They've got great equipment there. There's no reason why it should have been bad, but the guy didn't know how to mix. He didn't know how to
Yeah.
EQ. He didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, I'm just.
it was just.
I just remember you telling me, well, it'll be a while back about the having to just hear the ambient sound on the noise or a noise on the stage in order to get your feedback or whatever everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Like, you can imagine that one, okay?
Yeah,
Right.
it was quite a thing, and that really put a damper. That it really takes the wind out of your sails when you're just itching to perform. You want to go, you want to get on stage. You want to
Yeah.
share the music that you've worked so hard to craft and create, and you've played with, and it's kept you up at night, or it's all these different inspirations. You want to share that, and then someone just wants to take advantage of you and make a quick
Right.
buck off you, and it just really takes the wind out of your sails, and
Yeah.
it's just no fun.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, going to move on to the next example. This one actually, from here on, there are ones that almost successful. I would say I was intrigued by these next two enough to reply, but I had my wits about me. And let's we'll kind of show that again. They approached me via email here, and it seemed really legitimate. Someone called Lynn Verlaine contacted me and Ryan.
Mhm.
And it sort of sounded like, oh, great. Again, the vanity comes up. I looked up the name, and the name seemed legitimate. There seemed to be a legitimate artist management company, and it may well be. It just rubbed me up the wrong way, and lots of red flags went up for several reasons. As you can see, if you can read through this, if you watch on YouTube, you could probably read it easily, because the picture's so much better there. You'll see it looks very, very nice. A little bit of mentions the name. Hello, it's all in the mind. Nothing shouts that they really care about you and not looking up the members' names. And yeah, so they work from a talent agency. They were going to build us up and work with us and make us successful. Okay, they've got some big names in there. Britney Spears. Don't say anything about Britney because I'll cry. And Pink, Coldplay. And a couple others. Sia, I don't know who that is. I'm old. I'm assuming that's someone.
I barely know who Sia is, and I'm not that much younger than you.
Probably. So it seemed very legitimate. So I replied, and then they got this note. Hi, Mark. She got my name right, which is nice. And then thank you for getting back so quick. And there was, we would like to get you involved. We want to work with you, and you can see it was there written fairly professionally. I didn't see any typos. And we can fill out this questionnaire. And if I rush and do it within 1 to 2 days, and no more. It says at the bottom there, no more. I can bring your answers to our upcoming A&R staff meeting. Panic, panic, panic. So fair enough. I went and looked at that survey, and guess what? I'm going to show you guys that survey too. So while I switch the screen here,
Love surveys. Surveys
we
are
do.
the best.
Surveys are exciting. Here we go.
Especially when I get surveys from like automatic robots, and I got one today where they said, hey, this is the Canada Revenue Agency, and it was like an auto tone text. Like it was obviously a scam, but it was like, and it was like, hey, push 1 to talk to an agent. Repeat, push 1 to talk to an agent. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So if you check out Lynn Verlaine, you can have a look and you can come up with your own mind of is this real or not. But anyway, it looks very professional, no doubt about it. A lot of money, I think, has been spent on the website, although I don't know why this personalized link is open still, like years and years later. I think they use it for everybody. And the thing, as I was reading through it, the questionnaire is fun. It's fun to do, and artists usually report back that they love filling it out. And right there, my defenses went, yeah, that sounds like a load of bullshit. Sorry, that's in my throat there. And so I'm now instantly, if I wasn't skeptical before, I was now. And so, there's lots of information. It does look very professional. And then you start it's all fairly straight. Nothing more fun than entering your name. I won't enter a name here. Is this going to let me go through? There we go. Right. like email, got the contact information. It fades in and out, which is a little annoying even at the time. Age, and it will, you can to get started. How do you view yourself? Pick as many as you like, and so on. So it seems fairly straightforward. And they're asking, what are your experiences? I'm just scrolling down here quickly as I can. There's a section on business. Actually, I might be better off doing it this way. And it's all, there we go. Oh, this is a perfect space. Imagine a scenario. Would you spend 8 to 10,000 1,000 a month for 4 to 5 months on what you need the most? Let's say management, development, songwriting, blah blah blah. And of course, I filled out a lot of these, and I said no. I'm not spending a penny. I'm not spending a penny. And I filled this out. I filled this all out and submitted it. And there are a few of those as well. And we can probably look down. That's actually the perfect example, I think.
Would you spend $8,000 a month?
Yeah.
$8,000 a month?
No.
Like, what are you,
No.
like a CEO of a Fortune 500? No,
Yeah.
I don't get.
I know, to gauge your knowledge.
How much money do you think we're making?
Musicians, Paul. We are next to each other in the dictionary. There's pictures of us. Right? We anyhow, poverty and musicians. And I said, and it tries to con you, right? So, do you know how much it costs to do a major single release and put some money in?
Yes, we do know how much it costs to do a single release because we've done several of them,
and so on, and it goes on like this. There's a since we're on the subject of major singles budgets, what would you estimate the cost of singles of stars like Rihanna or Coldplay, Shawn Mendes, and etc. ... We were going to pick it as our band name, but it was already been taken. And so it gets like, but this is a common trick. You'll find that con men do this all the time. This is expensive and this is going to cost a lot of money, but we'll take a little less from you and we can make it, we can make it work for you. And so I knew that they weren't going to get back to me because every time I'd fill it out honestly, and every time they'd say, how much would you spend? Nothing. I'm not going to spend a penny on it. You contacted me. I didn't contact you. And so on.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And of course, she obviously took my information. I'll get back here again. She obviously took my information to the board there, and I heard back. Well, she'll get right back to me any day now. Sorry, yes,
Yeah, right.
There was no reply. So anyhow,
Yeah.
there you go. That was that
the
one.
board of imaginary directors of
Yeah,
your Fortune 500 CEO
That's right. So
salary.
and that
So I
looked,
was like, you
that
know
looked
what,
really
if
slick.
you
I
can-
was fooled there. I was fooled for a little while at the beginning, but but yeah, I mean, a couple $100 she
Yeah.
might have got me for maybe. But we're talking
Yeah, no kidding.
talking
It's
thousands.
like,
It's like
well, if you
5,000,
can,
I'll be
if you
working
can
for
get to the
myself.
point where I'm able to pay you $8,000 a month to be my manager, then I think we'll actually have an arrangement, right? But I don't have $8,000 to pay you. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't even think Rihanna pays her or one of those, or Coldplay. I doubt Coldplay pays a manager $10,000 a month. Like, I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I don't think Chris Martin would go for that kind of thing. It just doesn't seem like that would be it. Even though they probably could afford to do it, I don't think that's what a band manager was going to make. I think you're in the $60K a year, which works out to be about $3,000 to $5,000 depending on how you do your taxes and how badly you want to get hit by the actual Canada Revenue Agency. So that's it. Anyways, we got a new person joining us online, Pauline Santro.
Hey, Pauline, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, Pauline.
Hey, thank you.
Said, hey, we enjoy the show. Guess what, Pauline? We enjoy the fact that you're watching the show with us.
Indeed,
So,
thank you so much.
thanks for joining.
Appreciate that feedback. That's great. Thank you.
You bet. So
So we're going to move on. I had a one that was really obviously nuts. I didn't even come close to considering these guys. I'm going to switch back and show the example of what I received from them. A place called My Afton. Now you can go look these up, and I'm going to show you something, a very quick way to show you that these guys are definitely scammers. So the first thing you can tell, this was actually a follow-up. They had contacted me earlier. And I'm not sure if I replied to that one or if I replied to this one. Oh, I think I did. No, they replied and I said, can you please, again, I don't have the original email, but I did keep some of the later ones. They said, we would like to represent you. We've got lots of gigs in the coming up, but we'd like to promote you. And I said, sounds good. There's nothing in the email to say otherwise. And I give me more information. And of course, they gave me more information with a link to go and sign up with myafton.com. Now, those of you who are looking at this can see there are a couple of reasons why that this is a fraud. Well, see, it's signed by Ryan Kintz, but he introduces himself as Jordan. So no, I wasn't fooled by you for very long at all. If I was, anyhow, so Ryan Jordan Kintz from Afton. Anyhow, that was worth seeing just for that on its own. But I'm going to show you the website. This is actually quite funny as well. So I'm going to do this awkward switch to Ryan so I can get to the. Oh, is that Will?
Yeah, I just have that one pulled up on my browser right now.
There we
Mark
go.
will show it up here in a second.
Okay, myafton. There we go. So I went to this is the link he gave me. myafton.com. Perform no fees. Okay, well for a start that's a load of. Anyway, so you look down. It's anyone can make a professional website. No typos or anything that will make it stand out. There's no Nigerian prince behind this one. It looks decent. So let's get booked. So let's figure out what these no fees look like. And I clicked on this and I scrolled down just to get a little bit of information. I mean, how does it really work? And then I got here and I'm going to make this bigger for those of you, hopefully, is if I make that bigger there, right? So this is their example of you can select your dates. This is their example on there, how it would look under your profile. At the bottom, here we go, must pre-sell X plus tickets in advance. You cannot rely on door sales until you have X plus tickets sold. I didn't go any further. I didn't have to go any further. And so I don't think I even replied. I didn't bother signing up at all. I didn't go any further, obviously. But for those of you who are wondering if myafton is real, last night I was just playing around and I just typed in myafton reviews into Google. And this came up. And the first hit was, booking company, myafton, promises stage time as long as you sell. And there you go. That says it right there. And yeah, this is Afton a scam. And I wasn't even looking to see, is myafton a scam? I just had reviews, because I knew it was a scam, so I didn't dig too hard. But there you go. So you can just use Google as your friend. You can, if you type in something like, is Google legitimate? Then is myafton legitimate? Then the odds are you're going to get some hits that are going to say yes, they are. But if you pick up reviews, you might get something more balanced. Or if you just type in scam, we'll see. I haven't done this yet. Same one hits the top. Is it a scam? Everyone's still asking. Actually, a lot of these are the same questions, right? It's like the same websites appear. So you can use Google as your friend just to look everything up. Anyhow, so that sound familiar there, Ryan?
Sounds very familiar. I think was this the one that we were talking about in. There was one like someone had approached you about being a manager and said, "Yeah, I can get you into these different things" or something like that. Was this the one, or was that the other one?
Yeah, I did approach you about the first. It was the other one.
Right,
so that was the Lynn one. It's like it's this. That did kind of sort of seem. I'm like, well, I'm gonna follow it. And I think actually I said, and I remember I probably still have the email, or I texted you or something. I'm sure I still have it. Is that I had said, as soon as she brings up money, I'm going to run. It was something like that. I actually said that. It's either an email or a text. Actually, we may have spoken on the phone, but usually we email and text.
Well, it was text or messenger or something. And I kind of remember you were telling me about it. So yeah, I've gotten this, someone's approached me online or however it was. I probably didn't inquiry very far. And about where you'd found them. And they said, well, it's this. And I said, well, that almost sounds too good to be true. And I think I had said to you, look, and at that time I had just come off a point where I was not working. I was playing music full time, and now I had just started a job and I just starting to get money. And I was like, well, I really don't want to pay a lot of money because I've got this job now, and I don't want to get suckered here and start losing money off my paycheck and have to work extra time to make up for what I've lost. So just be certain I'm fine if this person is legit. If this is a guy who knows or a girl who knows Winnipeg and knows every little shop owner and can get us into places, then I'm for it. I'm color me interested.
Yep.
If but it sounds too good to be true. So I was like, just be careful with that because I don't want to pay someone a lot of money and not get anything out of it. And I think like one or two practices went by and you're like, yep, no, they're done. So it didn't last very long. So, or it didn't take very long to get to the bottom of that one. So,
yep. Okay, and we got the last little chunk here that we're going to call the last example. I don't know what this was about. We'll just call him or her the elusive Cobalt Green. No idea who it is. I received this email. Yeah, just was about a year, just over a year ago. Cobalt Green. Fair enough. You're online. You don't really know who you're going, who it's going to be. You know who you're reaching out to, particularly if you're going to an info at. Right. I think this was info at. Actually, I can't remember if it was It's All in the Mind. It must have been It's All in the Mind. It could have been at mdstallard.com. Both come to me anyway. And yeah, so I'd like to confirm a date. We've got this fundraiser. And fundraiser. You can make a lot of money out of a fundraiser, depending on what it is.
yep.
So I'd send an email. Actually, I'm not sure if I have my reply. There you go. So yeah, I'm available. I think it was a solo thing. So I'm available March of September, but could you give me some information on the events, what the fundraiser and the organization behind it? I think a typo. This is real. This is actually how I sent it with a typo. Damn it. A website page would be helpful. And so it's all above board. And then we got this, and it's a little bit small. I'm not going to make it too much bigger. But then it actually outlines this show. I mean, so it says, thanks for getting back to me. We're trying to raise funds for our farm. And the dates, the date and time, the service. So you want an hour of music. Legitimate. The Metropolitan downtown is a legitimate place. Or the Met's, right? It's called. The address and everything all looks legit. And it even said, can you give a well-detailed quotes and the details, including travel, accommodation, fees, and everything else, which fine. I mean, my $2 of gas to get downtown would you can have that flight. Anyhow, so then they'll be paying you prior to the event. I think it said check-in. I'll check. There we are. Right. So they're going to pay you for a check before the event. So I thought, well, maybe I'll reply. And I remember saying to my wife at the time, well, what's to lose? I mean, I can answer, and if they come back with nothing, all I've lost is my time. And that was kind of, so I was really seriously considering it. I wasn't feeling that good. Something didn't quite seem right. So I delayed it a little bit. And then was it a day or so later, Amber Epp on Facebook posted, has anybody else got this email from Cobalt Green? And so sure enough, by the time I saw it on my phone, and by the time I got to it, there must have been about 15, 20 musicians who replied, yes, they've been doing the same thing for me as well. And because I chimed in as well, and I replied to them. This is what they sent me back, and I think I posted that I'm pointing at my preview, so you can't see my preview. But anyway, I posted that picture you last saw. So this is what I did. And there was a little back and forth, and I don't think anyone really knows what this was about. And I'm kind of actually curious if anybody out there has heard of Cobalt Green, and is he or she still doing well? They haven't gone back to me since. I don't really care. But I am curious about what this was about, and I'm wondering if it was just fishing for a band that was fishing to figure out how much they should be charging for these kinds of events.
Well, that's definitely possible, but I think it seems to be a little bit more malicious than just hey, we're fishing, because there's so many different ways that you can get that information in a legit fashion. Yeah. To me, it seems like, if you're curious about that, well, I'll just talk to my other musician friends, or there's always somebody who's in a band who's been doing it longer than you. Well, what did you charge? Well, this is what we should charge. Yep. And you'll find that anybody who's on the level, when you come back, even with a reasonable amount, we talked about that one place, Sonic's Nightclub. I came back and said, listen, we're going to charge you $300 a night but you got us for the whole night. We'll do a whole night for you for $300. That's a deal. And he's hemming and hawing. He's like, well, how many of are you in the band? I was like, it doesn't matter. Band gets $300. It's like, well, what if I don't take $300 at the door? Well, that's more your problem than mine. I'm getting paid $300. And so he reluctantly agreed, and then we left, and then I called him back like a Wednesday, and this is about the time when I had the DJ that I had booked for him. So I'd actually done him a big service. I had him booked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I had him booked, and it was only going to cost him $600. And then the DJ agreed to take the door because those are typically slower nights, right? So charging him a flat 150 or whatever, it just doesn't make sense. They'll just split the door. Well, that place was so dead, and then he tried to hold the guy's stuff hostage, and it was just terrible. And then when I heard back about that, I was like, listen, if you don't are you backing out? Like, do you not want us to play? And he's like, well, no, you have to bring people to my bar. Like, no, I don't. I actually don't. I'm not in this for your bar. I'm in this for my bands.
Yep.
And I've gotten you 2 nights worth of entertainment for $300. That's cheap.
Yep.
That's a steal. $600. You're telling me that $600 for a bar is too much? What are you charging?
Yep.
Like, this is insane. Like, I've never heard of anything so asinine in my life. So like, what are you doing? so that wasn't so much a scam as it just like a greedy bar guy, and a guy who obviously doesn't know what he's doing, right? But there's so many legit ways to do this, but so on the flip side, because it's not all bad, right? When we approached Finn McCool's, which isn't around anymore, or Finn McHugh's, pardon me, they're not around in the Forks anymore. Dean there never for a second stopped. He said, okay, you want to play for, if you played more than one set, you got $300 for the night. We played there a couple of times until like 3 a.m, all night, walked away with a 3-piece, each with $100 in our pocket, which was nice. We had a good deal working with him. He had no problem paying it. And then he was even upfront with us and said, listen, if I do really well, I'm going to give you a cut of the door. You don't get any of my booze sales, obviously. I'm like, no, we wouldn't ask for that. But he says, if more people come in because they like you, you're going to get a bigger percentage of the door. But if it's a slow night, I'm still going to pay you, which is great. That's what you want. Yeah. And that's completely reasonable. The more people you have in your band, the more watered it down it gets, right? Because he just charged $300 for the night, which is the baseline that I used for approaching this other guy. And he didn't want to be as reasonable. Right. No. So, you know what, that's where you just have to be. There's different ways. That's why I can't really buy if this was where these people actually just musicians trying to figure it. It's possible, but you just ask around. Yeah. Like,
yeah, for sure.
That's all you have to do, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to change to, this was the summary that we had for our toolkit video last week. I think it's kind of, we can just kind of quickly look at this. So we got fooled because we didn't trust, we didn't let the people that we were dealing with trust us. Earn their trust. We trusted them. Maybe it was, I mean, in my case, for sure, it was vanity. I was hoping that I could sell that music to that big record deal. And then they never pay up front. I paid up front. I hadn't really, the examples weren't particularly good ones that they'd sent me. And then pay to play is literally you pay up front in order to play, right?
Yep.
Although I did kind of take my time, but not enough. And I was able to not, so point 4, protect personal information. I didn't really have any in these particular examples there. And of course later, the Google became my friend, I realized. And then with one of those examples, I said as soon as I asked for money, as soon as this is going to cost me a lot of money, particularly Lynn Verlaine, it was thousands of dollars. No, I'm done. Anyway, so that's kind of a quick recap. These are useful things. Some of these things are good for not just music scams. They're good for all kinds of scams. You can look at that as well. And one of the points that you mentioned last week, Ryan, which is worth mentioning again, is question the person that you think might be trying to scam you. Ask them lots of detailed questions. Anyhow, so that was that. So that's kind of the end of the contents for the show.
Yeah. Well, on that was, we kind of like doing your research, question research, like things like Google is your friend, looking at emails, and so for instance, I think I brought up that I had gotten something from PayPal, and they said, hey, your account has been withdrawn for a certain amount of money. So like I use PayPal all the time, and I buy stuff off eBay, I buy stuff off through PayPal. It's just the way we do things. PayPal is like insured up the ass. I don't think Elon Musk is dumb enough to open himself up to a major suit through that. So they have ways of protecting the buyer and the seller, right? Total legit service. But then you get something like, so like I'm gonna read you off one of that came from, this is from actually from iCloud, and I'm not an Apple user. I have an iPhone from work, and that's it. I don't use iPhone. So that to me already, I look at that as that's a scam. They're just phishing, right? But it says iCloud at support.com. Doesn't seem very legit so far, but it comes up as mail automatic recover account tap serve 809186 at this, and this is the actual,
that's the email
domain. This is the that's the preface of the email. This is the domain. It's vsqfxvpx.info.
And why did that sound suspicious to you?
Well, Mark, you're an IT professional.
Sounds great. Sounds fine. Yeah.
Like, asking questions. Google's your best friend. And you know what? If you were to just look at that as iCloud at support, oh my god! And then you look at the actual body of the message, this actually kind of looks legit. Oh wait, and then you mouse over the email address, and you're like, that ain't legit.
No,
that's no. So then it's like, go to spam. But they're preying on that. Hey, what? I use PayPal. What am I? Wait a minute. That's not the email that I have linked to PayPal. And then I was like, just to be certain here, I'm going to look at one of my transactions from PayPal, because it's the support email that you get whenever you get there. Mm-hmm. And guess what? It's something like info@paypal.com or .ca, depending on which domain you're using. It's something very generic and very simple, legit. You mouse over it, it says support at whatever, right? At paypal.com. So it's all that stuff is just dig in.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. So you can reach us. The links to all of the previous shows, the previous two episodes, so parts 1 and 2, you can catch the links on theinvisibleman.ca. Every link to pretty much everything we're going to be mentioning in this contact, there are links to that on that website, so go check that out. You can reach, so some of you are watching this already on the It's All in the Mind band page on Facebook. We're also simultaneously streaming it on the Colorado Phil Show page. A big thank you to Phil for being agreeable for us to be streaming on there. Our cohorts on the main show, which is going to happen on the 13th, this Saturday, and we'll talk about that in a second, just briefly. Get to YouTube, theinvisibleman.ca/YouTube, and you can catch me and Phil on Twitter at MBStallard and at Colorado Phil 1. So there's that. Just a good mention that we've got Carrie Luce Forsyth from Load is joining us on Saturday, 2 p.m. Central Time. Check the It's All in the Mind page and the Colorado Phil Show page and invisibleman.ca. Either any of those, there should be links. Check out the events on those pages. Actually, if you go to the invisibleman.ca, it's the first thing. It's a big picture in the beginning, so go check that out. Make sure you don't miss it. That's going to be a great show. And Ryan has become a massive fan. So
I have. Carrie's not here, so I can't go all fanboy on her, but in her absence, I will still say it is an outstanding, wonderful album. Took me completely by surprise, because the picture that's on your that we're using to promo the show, I'm looking at it and it's like, hey, this Carrie kind of looks or reminds me of like maybe Joan Jett or Heart or Blondie or one of these, or one of those girl rock groups. And so I'm expecting kind of like something down and dirty and kind of thing. And the album that I got just blew me away. it wasn't what I expected. It surpassed my expectations and it blew me away, and it just is absolutely worth listening. So I think if I keep this up, I might have to legitimately become Gary's manager or their call guy. So, like, and that won't be a scam because I'll just tell them it's a good album.
Indeed. Sounds good, yeah. And just one last thing there. If you want to help the show, we've got these mugs available. We've got some t-shirts as well with the Invisible Man on. You can reach that through theinvisibleman.ca/merch. Again, links on the main page as well. Go check that out. We'd appreciate that if you could help us out a little. Just helps keep with Ryan's spending on the technology, and maybe I can maybe one day spend more than $10 on mine as well. So if you've got anything else to add, Ryan, we'll wrap it up there.
Well, if you do, I can actually buy equipment that is not secondhand or used. So please buy all the coffee mugs and t-shirts you want. It's, it looks like impressive from behind, but I'm going through all my sources, all my friends and contacts, and I find used gear secondhand. I offer to pay. In some cases, I get stuff donated to me. So
we are true Winnipeggers. We don't like paying full price for anything, right? So if you can
well, I think that just comes from me being thrifty and not being able to afford anything.
And we're Winnipeg musicians, so I'm not sure we got the natural frugalness of the area, and we're musicians, and we have nothing. Anyhow, I'm rambling.
I have
again.
Scottish blood in me, so paying full price for anything just makes me mad.
Well, there you go. So there you are. So that's probably a little bit more about us than you wanted. Maybe not. Anyhow, so thank you very much for joining us. I think we're back on not next week, the week after. I did say that last week, but I think I can't make it next week, so it definitely won't be next week. And we're back for another musical mine. I forget what we had planned. I think it was something musicians. Oh, there was the live show paradox. Venues want live music, but they don't want to pay for it. But yet artists want to play live music, but don't want to do it for free. All right, or they want to be paid. So the paradox. So we're going to talk about that and the ins and outs, and when it's good, when it's fine to play for free, when it's not, and we're probably going to go into that with a little bit of passion as well, I think. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll watch the websites and the Facebook pages for the upcoming events, and for Saturday for sure, the 13th, and then the next musical mine. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone. And on behalf of It's All in the Mind, that's Ryan Janz. I got the pointing right this time. And
wait, I know it says wait. I just want to not take it. And that's Mark over there.
Right. We did it right.
Mark David Stallard, my partner in crime.
Indeed.
And the next time you see us, we will have our third compadre, Colorado Phil.
Indeed.
And as Mark has said, Carrie Luce Forsyth will be joining us from.
That'll be great. So
looking forward to seeing
it's going to be exciting
on the 13th.
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, everyone. I'd read out your names, but I don't have that in front of me. But thanks so much for everyone that was there. And
I can tell you right now, we can say Chris, Shalem, Pauline, and Phil, who had to leave early. So thanks, everyone.
Okay, that's good. So thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll catch you in a few days. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Oh.